I'm Kateryna Vdovychenko, and I am joined today by Mike Ernst, President of Expedite All, and Kristin Ruder, Vice President of Strategic Partnerships. And in these series of conversations, we talk about all things expedited. And in this episode, we will look back at 2025 and break down the major achievements across our network, our technology, industry presence, and everything that shaped Expedite All momentum this year. So let's jump right in. And the first question is to Mike. Mike, what were the biggest achievements in our small truck network in 2025?
Well, Kate, that's a great question. We had a lot of them. We were really excited about our network capability growth. So what I mean by that is we continued to expand the vehicle counts to better serve those areas where our customers have further need, where maybe we had a shortfall on certain vehicle types or just quantities in general. I think the next largest achievement is our continued advancements from a technology perspective. We love to listen to our customers to find out what's important to them and what makes their jobs, their lives easier. So I think we've spent a lot of time talking with our customers, finding out what is important from a tech standpoint, what makes quoting, booking, tracking, tracing, even integrations with proprietary systems, what makes things simpler. We spent a lot of time on that in 2025. In addition, we've even found some additional verticals for expansion. Lastly, I would say what's probably most fun is just the awareness of the new mode that we've created, the STL, the small truckload. We've started to become that household name. People are understanding the shift. So I think, in my opinion, Kate, those are probably the most prominent things. I look back and say we've really done a good job, really continued to enhance our achievements and our capabilities, and again, trying to satisfy our customers' needs with all those.
Do you want to talk about the expansion of our network numerically?
Sure. So we were at approximately 10,000 vehicles at the beginning of 2025. Our goal is really to get it to about 20,000 vehicles. We know we'll get there by 2030, but we've added about 2,000 vehicles this year. Now, a lot of that is efforts on the straight truck side. When you think about our network, we run three different vehicle types. You've got the Sprinter vans or the cargo vans that'll hold up to 3 pallets and about 3,000 pounds. You've got the box trucks that'll go up to 6 pallets and about 4,500 pounds. But we've seen a huge need from our customers on straight trucks, which was honestly probably the weakest equipment type from a capacity standpoint that we had. So organically, we've worked with our vehicle partners to increase those counts strategically within geographic areas where we found need. We're excited we continue to go through that process. We've kind of coined it our STARS program. Again, focused specifically on the straight truck growth. Now, all three vehicle counts have grown, but we feel that is probably where there's the immediate need, and we've spent a lot of time this year expanding that.
Kristin, from your perspective, what enabled the level of our network scaling this year?
I would say it's always based upon demand, right? So as you kind of think about Expedite All and the growth that we've had over the number of years that we've been in business, I think it's about getting our name out there initially and gaining that brand recognition and the name equity that comes into play with that. And as we further grow and expand, we then so grow and expand with the clients that we have. So, you look at the top 100 list of brokers and 3PL, 4PL partners, and even freight forwarders now, and we're doing business with them, I would say probably half of those folks that are on that list, at least growing to be in that space with them. As we further gain their business, then so grows the demand for the space that we're able to offer them from a solution perspective.
Yeah, if I can just add to that, Kate, I mean, our focus is customer-centric. We first went to market. We had built the network, but really went to market with that safety, that security, that capacity as a one-stop shop. But, as I kind of alluded to at the tech piece, we like that feedback from our customers. Again, we can organically grow that. We can go out and create new partnerships to bring in as well. But really, we love to listen to the customers. Not only does it come from just the need, their immediate need, but where are their expansion of their growth opportunities? Where are they looking for new customers? Where are, their goals going to take them in 2025 and now 2026, which is right around the corner. So, we love that feedback, and that's how we focus on our initiatives each and every year.
Yeah. Talking about the demand, let's address our newest venture, our newest addition to our network, the 500 TSA-certified drivers. We're going to talk a little bit more about it in later episodes, but let's just briefly mention it and talk about it a little bit.
Sure. So TSA has become a huge opportunity for our internal growth, but we've also found new verticals and partnerships in the freight forwarding and the air divisions. We've been to a couple of conferences. We've learned from that, but the nice part that we had, again, with the vehicle counts, we had a significant number of vehicle partners that were already TWIC or hazmat certified. So for us, it was a no-brainer. We had a smaller TSA count within the network, but through those partnerships on the forwarding and the aerospace, really it allowed us to go out and identify the vehicles that we could quickly increase that counts to, again, help better cover the demand we talked about earlier. So again, listening to our customers. Right now, we've got approximately 500 TSA qualified drivers. We've got a TSA certified division that handles all the paperwork, the quoting, the booking, the dispatching to make sure we're in compliance. But sooner than later, we'll get to 1,000. And I'm talking within probably the next 3 to 6 months. We've got our HR department working actively to communicate with all of those drivers that have, again, that TWIC certification or that hazmat endorsement. And we're actually working with and paying for those drivers to get the TSA qualification so that we can expand the capacity we can offer.
Let's go back to some of our milestones and talk about technology and our customer portal. So which customer portal upgrades resonated most with our customers this year? Maybe Kristin, you can answer that.
Yeah, so this is my first year with Expedite All, so I don't have a lot to benchmark it against from my personal experience, but certainly hearing from customers from their experience thus far with our company. One of the things that we added into our tech stack was the Book Now feature. So as opposed to, working through, so within our portal, those that don't know, we have a ability to come into our portal to, in essence, get what I would say like a soft rate. Like what's your average rate for the different vehicle types, the sprinter vans, the box trucks, the straight trucks. And then we would have a quoting capability that in my world, in a prior brokerage, you think about it as a truck and hand rate, right? Where we are holding that vehicle for 15 minutes. The difference between the two now that we have that Book Now feature is they're bypassing having to go into the quotes page to put in their information and then waiting for feedback from our team, which again doesn't take a long time, but when time is of the essence, oftentimes in these types of shipment scenarios, the Book Now feature, it is a matter of, seconds that they're able to put in their information and then have the Book Now feature populate for not only sprinter vans, which is originally what we had that Book Now feature capability present for, but now also having that also as a capability for our box trucks and our straight trucks. So it helps speed things up and it just helps us boost then obviously the volume that we're running through our portal as well.
Yeah, Mike, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, I can add a little bit. So if we just step back, as Kristin said, we had our rates calculator, and we're the only company that offers that. But again, it was a directional rate that was really great for quoting quickly. To Kristin's point, you still had to go into the quote screen, fill everything out. It went into our TMS. It would identify the vehicles. It would repopulate one, do we have a vehicle that can cover it? Because we never give a price if we don't have a guaranteed vehicle offering. Two, it would provide that rate back at that moment in time based on the vehicle counts. But again, it would take, call it 90 seconds or so to run through that process if somebody was quick at entering the data. The nice part about the Book Now feature is you literally can put in an origin zip code, a destination zip code. You can choose your vehicle type or let the TMS do it for you. Drop your weight in, hit calculate. And if there are a minimal number of vehicles that we built in as business logic in the TMS, it'll automatically understand what we can get that rate down to, give you the Book Now option. You click it, drop your rate confirmation, and now you're done. So where, again, it was a two-step process in the past, or at least a one-step process that would have to be validated through the TMS and the operator that was assigned, which could take you about 2 minutes or so to get that feedback back. This gives you in literally under 90 seconds or typically under 30 seconds if you're quick at typing, an option to secure the guaranteed vehicle at a guaranteed rate and move on to do something else. From there, the operators will get you all the information on the vehicle so that you can pass it back to your customer and again, maintain that safety and security and that transparent communication.
One of the other things I would add too that I think we've made more robust is our AI tool. So when you are in that quoting page, we have an autofill quote with AI. So the customer can either copy and paste from their TMS or through an email, text content that comes through from their customer. Then we're able to consume that into our autofill with AI capabilities. We've just made that a little bit more robust, right? But the nice thing about that autofill with AI, and I've shown the portal to, numerous customers, and we show them the fields from a quoting perspective. It's always the usual suspects of origin, destination, the timeframes, specifics about the shipment itself. When you're typing that in and you think about that compounded time throughout the day, right? I'm not a super patient person. I don't know anybody in the industry that probably is. But when you think about inputting that information and typing it out, it may take like a minute or two. Again, that doesn't seem like a long time, but when you compound that throughout your day, or an operator that's booking shipments, how that compounds throughout their day, it just takes a while. So when you show them that autofill quote with AI tool, it's literally like they're, mind blown, right? Where they're like, wow, that's amazing that I can literally copy the text in an email that I'm getting from my customer, and it automatically populates. So it's saving me time. And then automatically knowing that it's going in there, and I don't have to, you know, put it in a certain format and manipulate it in a way that it's putting it into the fields that you want it to go into. It's just automatically doing that is a huge time savings for them as well.
Yeah, and just to clarify that, you literally can copy and paste anything, and that AI functionality will pull out the pertinent information that matters for that quoting opportunity. Anything from inside deliveries, hand load and unload, two-man teams. You've got various enhanced services that you may want, even something down to the fact that the driver needs to call, John Doe at phone number whatever 30 minutes prior to delivery. It captures all that. You don't have to go in and only capture the pertinent detail and drop it in. You can copy and paste the entire text. In an email, you could copy and paste the signature line, drop everything in there, and it's going to recognize what's important for that shipment in order to quote it properly. And again, put it into the quote, drop it into the TMS, and then again, there's where your quoting process starts. The other thing I would add, you asked about what are some of our enhancements. On top of that, through the customer portal, we've also added multi-stops. So our old version, you could do one origin destination, and in a notes section, you could add any intermediate points if it was going to be a multi-stop. The nice part now is if you want to hand enter everything, you can just continue to add stops in between the origin and destination, put in any additional specifics there. Again, they may have different requirements or different needs, or you can just copy and paste and it'll do it for you. So I think that's come a long way. I think our customers really appreciate it. But again, it was something our customers were asking for. Is there an easier way that we can create a multi-stop quote within your portal that we don't have to maybe have a back and forth via messaging within the portal or something like that? And I think it's come a long way, and it's been appreciated by our customers and our partners.
Which is an important note, right? It's our own proprietary technology. So the ability that we have with that is the flexibility of further building out that tool to be exactly what our customers are looking for, right? So as we gain insight from them, we're able to then say what makes sense, what doesn't make sense, potentially to put that into that tool. But it allows us to have, in essence, like real-time ability to be agile in that space, that we're not working through a third-party entity. It's us internally working to make that more robust as a one-stop shop, if you will, for our customers.
Yeah. What I really like about our technology is that it's very responsive to our customers' need, like you mentioned. And even like being to industry shows like Technovations, you hear these AI buzzwords and you talk to people about their technology, and very often people can't explain what their AI does. And it's really nice when we can practically explain what it does and how it serves our clients. It is very practical. I don't have another word for it. And like all of our features, they're meant to serve specific customers' needs. And I think Elena Konovalova, our Chief Technology Officer, did a great job presenting our product on Technovations this year. I really enjoyed her talk. And Maybe we could talk a little bit about the events this year, and what were the highlights. For me personally, Technovations was probably the highlight this year. What did we think about the industry events? We've been to quite a lot of them. I think about 30 events you visited or exhibited at this year. So, Mike, what was your personal highlight with industry events?
Well, there were a number of them. To your point, Kate, we've been to approximately 30 in the 2025 calendar year. But when we think about the partnerships that we have, they probably fall into three verticals. So you've got the LTL sector, where somebody's looking for that rescue opportunity or that exclusive use opportunity that the LTL network can't provide, or it's the full truckload, right? Where people haven't learned how to right size the shipment to a more economical solution. So they're putting something that's 1 to 14 pallets on a 53-foot trailer where you can find a faster, safer, more economical solution in the vehicle types that we offer. And then the newest vertical that we've really found a number of new partners with within in the freight forwarding world. All of them have different conferences. So I think about the LTL side. We spend a lot of time with the customers, our customers, and potential customers at conferences like SMC3. Again, it's really LTL centric. TIA. That's where we find a lot of our 3PL and broker partners that are working in the full truckload world. And we work to educate them on the safety and security of our network, the right sizing of the vehicle to that more economical solution. Again, you get a better speed because those vehicles are driving highway speeds versus truck speeds. And then we think about the freight forwarding vertical. We've got conferences like TIACA and the Air Cargo Conference. We're even part of the Air Forwarding Association, Air Forwarders Association, to, again, develop those partnerships, those awareness of the new mode that we've created with STL. But again, you're talking three different type verticals, and each one has unique conferences. We've been to Manifest, we've been to the Broker Carrier Summit. Again, we're focusing on the partnerships that can leverage our network and we can help them satisfy their customers' needs. Those would probably be the ones that come to mind, but there were a lot of great conferences this year. It's hard to narrow it down to what was your favorite or which was the best one. I think we could say something positive about every single one we've been at, but again, based on verticals, I would say SMC3, TIA, TIACA and Air Cargo, and then again, Manifest and the Broker Carrier Summits.
Yeah, looking forward to our 2026 calendar.
We've got an active calendar already. Yeah, that's right.
Kristin, what themes or feedback stood out in your conversations with brokers and partners in these shows?
I think the biggest theme is really that, our customers and potential customers are really adopting the message that we've been putting out. Meaning, if we say STL to somebody, they historically might not have even known what that meant. It's a term that Expedite All has coined to mean small truckload, right? And that messaging that we've been putting out and that we've been ingraining to our customers is something that I think that the light bulb is kind of going off in their minds to say that I understand that there is an additional mode out there, right? It's not just your full truckload and your LTL, but very genuinely, there is a space in between that is STL. And so we've coined the term, and I think that others are understanding not only what that term means, but now they're adopting that language almost into their own company and understanding how do they build out that mode themselves and how are they leveraging that understanding of that mode and further selling into that space, right? Because I think we've done a good job as far as educating, that space between full truckload and LTL. And, of course we do expedited, it's part of our name, but really understanding the right sizing of the vehicle for the, a shipment that they have. That's operations, right? And it's, I think, also educating companies on, if you're not already, how are you selling into that space? So I think it's been an evolution of some kinds to further educate them in that space. But to answer your question, I think that it's been interesting to see those aha moments go off in their mind to understand that this is an additional mode that we can leverage as a company.
Yeah. And to add to that, I think about when I first started with the organization, you'd talk about STL or even talk about the vehicle types, and you'd hear words like hot shot or final mile or last mile, things like that. That's really not what STL is, right? Our average length of haul is 664 miles. So, it's again, it's right sizing that vehicle and that solution to what the customer needs and, giving them a price point that's better than going with a full 53-foot vehicle. But to your point, Kristen, I think, people starting to use that terminology is exciting when you walk into any conference or even with our partners, you listen to their floors, their employees having conversation, they're understanding that new mode, right? The data tells us that the STL market is really growing at about a 19.5 or 20% calculated annual growth rate for the last 3 years. We've talked in previous discussions about why that is, and we kind of know what it is. It's the driver demand. There's not enough drivers. You've got the insurance premiums going through the roof. You've got the regulatory restrictions with ELD, the hours of service, all of those things. But more importantly, I think everybody has heard of the Amazon effect. Everybody wants to order something now, have it shipped at your doorstep tomorrow or the next day. So supply chains and lead times are shrinking, and it's really fun to hear people talk about that space. But, for us, it's even more fun to go in and help people uncover how they can find something that better solves that mode solution needed based on their customer desires, right? A lot of our partners will bring us in on those calls with their customers. They're long-term partners that may be having damage issues or maybe having service issues or maybe need to shorten their lead time because their customer base has that Amazon expectation. So the shipment sizes, we even think about that. They're shrinking again because people don't want to overstock, but they don't want to be out of stock. So, it is fun to hear people start to talk about STL as a natural mode because it is. It's a new mode to people. They're not as used to it, but they're starting to understand over the last couple of years that we've really spent a lot of time on market awareness to get them to understand what it is. It's not hot shot. It's not just first or final mile. It is really a different mode that can solve problems that historically, the various modes that were out there in transportation and logistics didn't solve.
If you had to name one challenge in 2025 that Expedite All overcame as a company, what would it be?
Honestly, I don't know if we've overcome it, Kate, but there's just not enough time in the day. When I think about all the opportunities that we're uncovering within the relationships we already have, and then the new relationships we're building through people reaching out to us, through the conferences, the conferences we exhibit, the amount of traffic we get. We spent a lot of time building an extremely talented team over the last year as well to be able to handle that. But the short answer is just not enough time in the day to do everything we'd like to do and be able to help all the people as quickly as we'd like to help. We're solving that problem. Again, Kristin had alluded earlier that this is her first year with us. She's doing a phenomenal job. So we love having her as part of the team. But we'll continue to bring in talent like Kristin at that enterprise level that can work with those larger partners to really strategically dig deep to help them solve the problems they can't solve today. But yeah, back to the short answer, we just need more time. We need more people, but it was a great year. That would be our biggest challenge, but we'll definitely continue to grow the team and the talent.
And to piggyback on what Mike said, I think after I first started, Mike's like, I'm here to remove obstacles from a leadership perspective. Like, what are you encountering that I can help remove obstacles from your day to day? And that was my exact feedback, I think, to you at that time was, Mike, I just need more time in the day because it's not a matter of, obstacles or challenges that I'm running into. It's just the amount of time in the day to work through all of the opportunities, get back to all of the potential clients and existing clients and thoroughly get embedded into their organization to understand the business that they have and where we can be a good fit. So yes, I mean, that's still on your plate, Mike, to create more time in the day and or become more efficient, right, as a company, which we're doing. I say that jokingly, but certainly time is of the essence, is something that's on the table as far as where the biggest challenges have historically lied.
Yeah, and I think another thing we've done this year that, excuse me, we didn't have the year prior, we've even built out a team to support our enterprise team. So we've got what are called strategic account managers. They're really your operational liaison that is there for the day to day to try to help our partners ground floor. Right, you've got the people that are actually connecting the freight and the truck at that agent level within each one of our partnerships. We're aligning the strategic account managers as a point of contact on a day-to-day basis to help them with new scenarios, or if they're not sure about a solution, or if they've got questions that they're trying to answer for their customers themselves. And I think that's another layer within our team that is going to help, again, give us some of that time back. And we've already seen some really good success and support through bringing those roles in here recently as well.
Yeah. Those sound more like good things, good indicators rather than challenges. If there's not enough time in the day, then there is a demand. It means that we exist for a reason and we're doing something right in the current market. To close this episode, I have one last question for both of you. In one sentence, how would you describe success in 2026?
How would I describe success in 2026? There's a lot of ways we could describe it, but again, I think it goes back to listening to our customers and continuing to meet their needs. We're a service provider. We don't make anything. So it's about making sure that we truly understand and have done our due diligence to understand their needs, their their goals, their objectives, things like that, and then continue to enhance our network size, our network capabilities, our tech functionality, all of the various things that we have on the strategic roadmap for 2026. But it's really about solving those problems for our customers so that, we bring value to them.
I would say, what would, success look like for, 2026 in essence? Like, kind of piggybacking also along the lines of what you said was becoming a true partner to the customers that we service. And I think that word partnership is overutilized, but I mean it in its true essence of the meaning of partnership. Like, we're not just here to service your business, but we're here to further understand your business and understand the clients that you're servicing and how we can be another resource to you. And if you are not servicing business in the STL marketplace today, how can we arm you with information to give you another tool in your tool belt to then have that be an offering that you're now able to capitalize on in 2026 and beyond?
What a year. Looking forward to 2026, and we'll talk a little bit more about our future plans, our vision for the next year in the next episode, so stay tuned.